You ever lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, asking yourself, am I really living, or am I just existing, chasing something I don't even want? We're born into a world where everyone tells us the same story. Work hard, be successful, win at all costs. But nobody stops to ask the real question. What if winning doesn't feel like winning? What if victory tastes like poison? And on the other side, what if losing by society's standards, still feels like peace, joy, and freedom? So the question I throw at you today is brutal and honest. Would you rather be a happy loser or a stressed winner? Choose wisely. The illusion of winning is one of the greatest traps society has ever built. We grow up being told that life is a race, and the goal is to cross the finish line before everyone else. We are brainwashed to believe that winning is about money, cars, applause, numbers, status, and trophies. But let me ask you, if winning really brought happiness, why are so many of the so-called winners miserable inside? Why are the millionaires taking sleeping pills? Why are the celebrities drowning in addictions? Why are the successful people crying alone behind closed doors? The answer is simple, because what we've been taught to call winning is not winning at all. It's slavery disguised as achievement. Think about it. You're told to chase the promotion, so you kill yourself working late nights, skipping family dinners, burning your health to climb one step higher. You're told to build wealth, so you sacrifice your peace of mind in endless competition with people you don't even like. You're told to prove yourself, so you carry stress on your shoulders every day like it's a badge of honor. And finally, when you get there, when you're at the top, when the applause comes, when the money flows in, you realize it doesn't feel like the victory you imagined. Instead, it feels empty. It feels like running a marathon only to arrive at a desert. The illusion of winning is that it promises peace, happiness, and fulfillment at the end of the race. But the truth is there is no finish line. The more you win by society's definition, the more you have to keep running, keep fighting, keep defending your position. And that's why the stressed winner is never free. He might be celebrated, but inside he's chained. Every victory is temporary, every achievement is fragile, and the fear of losing it all keeps him awake at night. He can't enjoy what he has because his eyes are already fixed on the next goal, the next opponent, the next level. The world calls him a winner, but he feels like a prisoner. That's the illusion. What looks like success on the outside often feels like failure on the inside. The saddest part is that most people know this truth deep down, but they refuse to admit it because they're too scared to stop running. They've tied their self-worth to the illusion. They believe if they stop chasing, they'll be worthless, invisible, forgotten. But here's the harsh reality. If your entire identity is built on winning by someone else's rules, then you've already lost. You don't own your life, society does. True power comes when you see through the illusion and refuse to play the game on terms that destroy your soul. Because winning is not about applause, not about status, not about numbers. It's about peace. And the man who sees through the illusion and takes back his life is the one who truly wins. The word loser carries a heavy weight in society. But what if I told you that being a so-called loser might actually be the greatest freedom a human being can ever experience? Think about it. Society calls someone a loser simply because they don't fit into the system, because they didn't climb the ladder fast enough, because they didn't play the game according to the rules written by other people. But here's the twist. Maybe refusing to play that game is not weakness, maybe it's strength. Maybe the real loser is not the man who walks away, but the man who stays trapped chasing trophies that mean nothing. When the world labels someone a loser, what they're really saying is, this person doesn't live by our definition of success. But isn't that exactly where freedom begins? The so-called loser doesn't wake up every morning trying to impress a boss he secretly hates. He doesn't destroy his mental health just to fit into a title that society glorifies. He doesn't sacrifice family, love, or peace just to prove something to strangers. He may not drive the newest car, he may not wear the most expensive watch, but his laughter is real. He doesn't fake smiles in boardrooms, he doesn't choke under the weight of constant competition. He eats his meal in peace, he sleeps without fear, he wakes up without stress. That is freedom. And the irony is, the happy loser often lives a richer life than the stressed winner. Rich, not in money, but in joy. Rich in time, rich in moments that matter. Because when you're not enslaved to the endless chase for validation, you get to focus on what truly makes life worth living. You can sit with your children without your phone buzzing with urgent emails. You can take a walk and feel the sun without worrying about who is ahead of you. You can love someone without calculating their status. You can simply exist without pressure to perform. Of course, people will laugh at you. They'll say you lack ambition, they'll call you lazy, they'll label you a failure. But the truth is, those voices only come from people too scared to face the emptiness of their own chase. They have to mock the so-called loser because deep down they envy his peace. They want what he has, but they don't have the courage to let go of their chains. So they laugh at him while quietly wishing they could trade places. The freedom of losing is realizing that you don't need to win by their standards to feel alive. It's the bravery to say, I don't care about your trophies, I care about my peace. It's the wisdom to understand that life isn't about who dies with the biggest bank account, but who dies with the fullest heart. And when you grasp that truth, you stop fearing the label of loser. You wear it proudly because you know you've chosen freedom over slavery. And in that choice, you've already won. Stress is the silent enemy that wears the mask of motivation. People convince themselves that stress is a sign of progress, that being overwhelmed means they're doing something great, that exhaustion is proof they're on the right track. But that's the biggest lie ever sold. Stress doesn't elevate you. It destroys you slowly, piece by piece, until one day you look in the mirror and realize you don't even recognize yourself. It strips away your joy, your health, your energy, and your soul, while making you believe you're still in control. But you're not. You're a prisoner chained to a system that thrives on your anxiety. Think about the stressed winner. On paper, he has it all. The money, the position, the status, the applause. People clap when he walks in the room, they envy him, they say he's made it. But what they don't see are the sleepless nights, the heavy chest, the mind that never stops racing. They don't see him taking pills to calm his nerves. They don't see the emptiness in his eyes when the crowd leaves and the silence sets in. They don't see how badly he wants to escape but can't, because the same success that made him powerful has now become the cage he lives in. That's the trap of stress. It tricks you into thinking you're strong when in reality you're breaking. And here's the darkest part. Stress always collects its payment. It doesn't matter how tough you think you are. It doesn't matter how much you pretend it's fuel. Stress eventually comes for your body, your mind, your relationships. It destroys marriages because you're never present. It ruins friendships because you're always too busy. It eats away at your health until the doctor becomes your new best friend. And the saddest truth is this. Most stressed winners realize too late that everything they were fighting for wasn't worth the cost. They reach the top of the mountain and discover the view isn't beautiful. It's lonely, cold, and unforgiving. The trap of stress is also subtle. It whispers lies like, just one more deal and I'll relax. Or just one more goal and I'll finally rest. But that day never arrives. You push the finish line further and further away until your whole life has been one long race with no reward at the end. You sacrifice your present for a future that never comes. And when you finally stop, when you finally want to enjoy life, you realize you've wasted the best years of your existence. The truth is, a life built on stress is not success, it's punishment. Winning doesn't mean anything if it costs you your soul, your peace, and your health. If your victories feel heavier than your failures, then what you call success is nothing but chains disguised as achievement. The trap of stress is real, and until you escape it, you're not winning. You're just slowly dying while the world claps for your misery. The reason so many people are miserable is because they accepted a definition of winning that was never theirs to begin with. From childhood, society plants the idea that winning means climbing higher than everyone else, owning more, earning more, being celebrated more. We grow up chasing this picture of success without ever stopping to ask, who created this picture, and does it even fit my life? The tragedy is that people sacrifice decades chasing an image of victory that was never meant for them, and when they finally reach it, they realize it was empty all along. That's why you must redefine winning for yourself, because if you don't, the world will do it for you, and the world's version will always leave you hollow. Real winning is not about standing on a podium with people clapping. It's about standing in front of a mirror and being able to say, I love the life I've built. It's not about driving the fastest car, but about driving anywhere with peace in your heart. It's not about working endless nights to prove yourself, but about knowing you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Winning is not external, it's internal. The man with millions in the bank but no peace in his soul is not a winner. The man with peace, love, health, and freedom, even if he's not rich, has already won. Redefining winning means daring to step outside the script society has handed you. It means asking yourself, what do I actually want? What makes me feel alive? What gives me peace? For some, it might still be money and power, but at least then it's a conscious choice, not blind programming. For others, it might be time with family, creativity, adventure, or simple joy. The beauty is that there's no single answer. Winning is personal, and the moment you understand that, you become untouchable. The world cannot manipulate a person who has redefined winning on their own terms. They can't tempt him with flashy rewards, they can't break him with criticism, because he doesn't measure himself by their yardstick. He knows his own definition and he lives by it. That's real strength. That's real freedom. When you create your own rules of success, you stop being a slave to someone else's game. The truth is, trophies gather dust, applause fades, money comes and goes. But the feeling of peace, of waking up and knowing you're exactly where you want to be, that never fades. That is priceless. That is true winning. Don't let the world tell you you've lost because you didn't chase their dream. The greatest victory is living a life that feels right in your own soul. Redefine winning, because if you don't, you'll spend your whole life winning battles that don't matter while losing the war that does, the war for your own happiness. At the end of it all, everything comes down to choice. Life isn't just about what happens to you. It's about what you choose in the face of it. And the hardest decision you'll ever make is not between success and failure, but between peace and pressure, between freedom and slavery, between being a so-called happy loser or a stressed winner. Most people will never make this choice consciously. They'll just get swept along by what society tells them, too scared to stop, too afraid to ask themselves what they really want. But the truth is, the power is always in your hands, and it takes courage to use it. It takes courage to step away from the race when everyone else is sprinting. It takes courage to hear the voices calling you lazy, unmotivated, a failure, and still say, I don't care, this is my path. It takes courage to turn your back on shallow validation and choose a life that truly makes you happy. And it takes even more courage to live with that choice every single day while the world screams at you to be someone else. That's why most people don't do it. They know the truth, but they don't have the guts to live it. Choosing wisely means asking yourself the uncomfortable questions most people run from. What do I actually want? What am I willing to sacrifice? What does happiness mean to me? Because once you answer honestly, you realize you don't need to chase everything society worships. You realize you don't need every trophy, every paycheck, every compliment. You only need to build a life that feels true to you. That's wisdom, and it requires bravery to live by it. The easy path is to chase what everyone else chases, to compete endlessly, to wear your stress like a badge of honor. But the easy path leads to regret, to emptiness, to the feeling that you lived your whole life for someone else's approval. The harder path, the braver path is to walk away, to stand on your own, to carve out a life that might not impress everyone but fills you with peace. That choice won't be applauded by the crowd, but it will be celebrated by your own soul. At the end of your life, when the noise fades and it's just you alone with your thoughts, you won't care who called you a winner or a loser. You'll only care whether you truly lived, whether you were free, whether you were happy. And that's why the choice matters so much. Courage isn't about climbing the highest mountain for applause. It's about having the strength to say no to a climb that isn't yours. Courage is about protecting your soul from a world that constantly tries to buy it. Courage is about choosing wisely, even if it means standing alone. And when you do, you'll realize that you never lost anything. You won the only battle that truly matters, the battle for your own life. Tilda, so here we are, standing at the crossroads between two lives, the life of the stressed winner and the life of the happy loser. Both paths are real, both paths are open, and both demand a choice. But the question is, what do you value more? Do you value the applause of strangers, the fleeting trophies, the temporary validation that feels good for a moment, but robs you of peace for a lifetime? Or do you value the quiet joy of waking up without pressure, the freedom of being yourself without masks, the happiness of living on your own terms? The world will always glorify the stressed winner because society thrives on competition. It wants you to run endlessly. It wants you to burn out. It wants you to keep chasing goals that never bring satisfaction. Why? Because a stressed winner is easy to control. He's always hungry, always desperate, always dependent on external rewards. But a happy loser, he's dangerous to the system. He can't be manipulated because he doesn't play by their rules. He doesn't need their trophies, their approval, or their applause. He is free, and freedom is the most powerful form of victory. But make no mistake, choosing freedom is not the easy way out. It is not cowardice, it is courage. It's courage to say no to the noise, courage to define life on your own terms, courage to accept being misunderstood, mocked, or even labeled a failure. But in reality, the only failure is living a life that was never truly yours. At the end of the day, nobody remembers the size of your bank account or the title on your office door. What they remember is how you lived, how you loved, how you made others feel, and how much peace you carried in your heart. You don't get a second shot at life. You don't get to restart when you realize you wasted your best years chasing someone else's dream. You only get this one chance, this one story, this one heartbeat. Don't let stress steal it from you. So I leave you with this choice. Do you want to be celebrated by the world but tortured inside? Or do you want to be ignored by the world but free inside? Do you want to spend your life pretending to be a winner while living like a prisoner? Or do you want to risk being called a loser while walking in true freedom? The answer might scare you, but it will also set you free. A happy loser or a stressed winner? That's the question, that's the decision, and it's one only you can make, so choose wisely, because your entire life depends on it. Tilda.